When
Vaya,
Consumer
esto
Reports
es
calls an
bastante
SUV
equilibrado.
almost perfect,
Se comportan
that's
muy
not a
bien en
casual
la vida real.
compliment. That's the kind of label that usually only happens when a vehicle checks multiple boxes at the same time. Road test performance, comfort, usability, and the kind of ownership confidence that makes people keep the car for years instead of trading it after the honeymoon phase. And what makes the results feel wild is this. The SUVs that rise to the top aren't always the ones with the loudest hype online. They're often the ones that feel quietly unbeatable once you actually live with them. When you're doing the boring real-world stuff that decides whether a vehicle is a masterpiece or a regret. Cold starts, stop-and-go traffic, hills, long highway hours, parking lots, road noise, seat comfort after 90 minutes, the way the powertrain behaves when you need a quick pass without drama. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the most nearly perfect SUVs in the lineup based on the kind of Consumer Report style logic that rewards total balance, not one flashy trick. And I'm doing it in the way you actually want, not vague praise, but the details that matter. Engine behavior, transmission feel, ride quality, cabin quiet, and why these SUVs feel so complete that they can make everything else seem like a compromise. Stay with me because one of these is the definition of luxury without stress. One of them is the hybrid that makes daily driving feel smoother and smarter. One of them is the family SUV that somehow doesn't feel like a penalty box to drive. And the number one is the kind of pick that makes people say, okay, I get it now. And if you want more rankings like this, subscribe, because this is Royer Motors. Top 7. Subaru Forester 2026. The Forester earns nearly perfect energy for one reason most people underestimate. It's built around visibility, stability, and zero drama. In the real world, that's not boring, it's powerful. Because the moment you drive an SUV that lets you see clearly in every direction, places you naturally on the road, and stays composed when the pavement gets ugly, you realize how many popular SUVs are quietly fatiguing. Under the hood, the Forester leans into a proven formula, a 2.5-liter Subaru Boxer 4-cylinder with 180 horsepower. It's not trying to win a drag race. It's trying to deliver consistent, predictable response across the situations that actually matter. Rainy commutes, rough city streets, and long highway stretches where the vehicle needs to feel calm instead of busy. The engine's character pairs with Subaru's all-wheel drive identity and a driving feel that's more about confidence than flash. And here's why that matters. Confidence reduces stress. Stress is the real enemy of almost perfect. When a vehicle keeps you relaxed because it tracks straight, because it doesn't feel twitchy, because it communicates traction without surprises, you start noticing how much easier your day feels. Inside, the Forester's magic isn't luxury, it's usability. The cabin tends to feel airy, easy to place yourself in, and simple to live with. You don't need a learning curve. You don't need to fight the controls, you just drive. And that's one of the most underrated forms of excellence, a vehicle that disappears into your routine in the best way. If you're the kind of driver who values clear visibility, everyday comfort, and all-weather confidence more than bragging rights, the Forester becomes dangerously easy to recommend because it's the SUV that rarely gives you a reason to complain. Top 6. Mazda CX-5. The CX-5 is the SUV that makes people understand the difference between reliable transportation and a vehicle you actually enjoy. It has a reputation for feeling more expensive than it should, and that starts with the way it's tuned. The steering, the suspension, the cabin quiet, the way it settles at speed, it's cohesive. It feels like one complete decision, not a collection of parts. On the powertrain side, the standard CX-5 setup is a 2.5-liter engine around the 187 horsepower range, and the bigger story is how it delivers that power. It doesn't feel sloppy, it doesn't feel like it's guessing, and crucially, Mazda sticks with a traditional 6-speed automatic rather than going down the route that can make acceleration feel disconnected. That alone is a big reason the CX-5 feels premium in normal driving. The transmission behavior tends to feel natural, responsive, and predictable when you roll into the throttle. Then there's the turbo option, which is where the CX-5 starts feeling like a cheat code for people who want quickness without stepping into a luxury badge. With the turbo, you're looking at output that can climb dramatically. up to around 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque on premium fuel in many specs. What that translates to is effortless passing power and a stronger sense of reserve, especially at highway speeds. But here's the reason it belongs on a nearly perfect list. It's not just speed, it's refinement. The cabin tends to feel well finished. The ride feels controlled without being punishing. And the CX-5 often nails that difficult balance where the SUV can feel tight and composed, but still comfortable enough for daily driving. If you're the kind of person who doesn't want your SUV to feel like an appliance, the CX-5 is the moment you realize you can have practicality and a higher quality driving experience without paying the luxury tax. Top 5. Honda Passport 2026. The Passport is the SUV for people who want mid-size space and real-world muscle, but don't want the complexity of a 3-row layout they'll rarely use. It's a 2-row SUV with a bigger, tougher attitude, more cargo-friendly, more road trip-friendly, and with a powertrain that feels like it's built to handle weight without sounding stressed. Power matters here, and the Passport brings it with a V6 that sits around 285 horsepower in many configurations. That's the type of powertrain that tends to feel confident when you're climbing, when you're loaded up, when you're accelerating onto the highway with passengers and cargo. And it's paired with a multi-gear automatic transmission that, when tuned well, can give you that satisfying step-forward feeling instead of the sense that the vehicle is stretching its way up to speed. Now, why does this register as nearly perfect for so many owners? Because it solves a specific problem beautifully. It gives you mid-size SUV strength and room without forcing you into a larger, heavier 3-row lifestyle. You get the space where you need it: cargo, rear seat comfort, everyday practicality, while keeping the layout simple and the ownership experience straightforward. The Passport also tends to appeal to a certain type of buyer, someone who values capability and durability vibes, not just flashy screens. It's the kind of SUV that feels like it can take real use: bad roads, long trips, gear, weekends, life, without feeling delicate. If your version of perfect means power you can trust, space you can actually use, and a layout that doesn't overcomplicate your life, the Passport earns its place. Top 4. Kia Telluride. The Telluride is the SUV that shocked a lot of people because it didn't just become popular, it became respected. It's one thing to sell well. It's another thing to be the model people point to when they talk about a 3-row SUV that feels complete, polished, and confidently engineered. Mechanically, the Telluride's foundation is straightforward and strong. A V6 making around 291 horsepower paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And this combo is a big reason it works so well in real life. A V6 in a family-sized SUV is about smoothness and steady pulling power. It's about having enough engine so the vehicle doesn't feel breathless when loaded up. It's about that calm acceleration where you don't feel like you're asking too much from the drivetrain. What makes the Telluride feel nearly perfect is that it doesn't punish you for choosing a family SUV. Many 3-row vehicles feel like compromises: big and heavy, awkward in corners, noisy on the highway, or frustrating with controls. The Telluride's reputation comes from feeling unusually polished for its class: quiet cabin behavior, comfortable ride, and a general sense that the vehicle was engineered with the owner's daily life in mind. And that's the secret. Almost perfect usually means the vehicle is good at the things you can't fix later. You can upgrade a stereo, you can add accessories, but you can't easily upgrade the fundamental ride quality, the cabin calm, the way the transmission behaves, and how the SUV carries its weight. The Telluride tends to get those fundamentals right. So if you need real 3-row practicality, but you refuse to drive something that feels like a rolling compromise, the Telluride is one of the strongest answers, and that's why it lands so high. Top 3. Lexus NX. The Lexus NX is what happens when almost perfect means luxury that doesn't exhaust you. Because real luxury isn't just leather and a badge. Real luxury is quiet, smooth, calm, predictable. It's the feeling that the vehicle is protecting your energy, not draining it. The NX lineup is interesting because it offers different personalities depending on powertrain. But the theme stays consistent: a tight, well-built cabin and a controlled driving experience. In gas form, NX variants often pair a 4-cylinder engine to an automatic transmission, aiming for smoothness and quiet over raw aggression. In hybrid form, especially in versions like the NX 350h, the story becomes even stronger because hybrids can deliver that immediate low-speed response that makes everyday driving feel effortless. In many specs, the NX 350h is rated around 240 horsepower total system output, which is plenty for a compact luxury SUV, especially when the power delivery feels smooth and instant in normal driving. But the biggest reason the NX earns nearly perfect status in the Consumer Reports universe is the blend: comfort, quiet, and ownership confidence. Lexus has long been associated with strong predicted reliability at the brand level, and the NX tends to represent that idea in a compact luxury form that still feels practical. And here's where the NX really wins. It makes daily driving feel calmer. Less noise, less harshness, less of that cheap SUV sensation over rough pavement. If you spend real hours in your car, that calm becomes addictive. The NX is for the buyer who wants something that feels premium every day, not only when showing it off. If your goal is to upgrade your driving experience without stepping into something high maintenance or overly complicated, the NX becomes a very hard SUV to beat. Top 2, Lexus RX. The RX is one of the most consistent, safe luxury choices in the market, and there's a reason it keeps showing up in Consumer Reports-style conversations. It's not trying to be edgy. It's trying to be excellent at the things that matter for real owners: quiet cabin, ride comfort, smooth power delivery, and the kind of overall polish that makes long drives feel shorter. On the mechanical side, modern RX variants include a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder paired to an 8-speed automatic, and in many official specs that engine sits around 275 horsepower with torque in the low 300s. That's a very smart setup for this type of SUV because it balances smoothness with usable strength. You're not depending on high RPM to feel power. You get torque where you actually drive. That means merging feels easier, highway passing feels confident, and the vehicle doesn't need to feel loud to feel strong. But let's talk about what nearly perfect really means here. Refinement under pressure. The RX is designed to stay quiet when you're at speed, to stay comfortable when the road is broken, to keep you from feeling the SUV's weight in a stressful way. That's difficult engineering, and Lexus has built an identity around it. Also, there's a psychological advantage the RX has. It feels like a reward. Many SUVs feel functional. The RX feels like you're treating yourself without turning ownership into a complicated hobby. You get the premium experience while still staying in the zone of practicality. If you want a luxury SUV that feels consistently calm, consistently well-finished, and consistently easy to live with, the RX is the kind of choice that makes people understand why almost perfect isn't hype. It's a description. Top 1, Honda CR-V 2026. The CR-V is the kind of SUV that wins because it's great at everything people actually do. Not what they imagine doing, not what they want to post about, what they really do. Commute, run errands, haul cargo, carry passengers, drive long highway stretches, deal with bad weather, and live inside the cabin every single day. This is where nearly perfect becomes obvious. The CR-V doesn't rely on one gimmick. It's a total balance vehicle. The packaging is strong, space where you want it, comfort where you feel it, visibility that reduces fatigue, and an interior that tends to feel thoughtfully designed rather than overcomplicated. Now let's get into the powertrain because this is where the CR-V becomes scary good in 2026. You have two major paths, the turbogas engine and the hybrid system. The turbogas option sits around 190 horsepower with torque around 179 pound-feet in many specs, which is respectable and efficient. But the hybrid is what transforms the experience. The CR-V hybrid uses a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder with a 2-motor hybrid system that produces about 204 total system horsepower. And what matters isn't just the horsepower number, it's the way it drives. Hybrids like this tend to feel smooth in traffic because the electric assist helps you move off the line without the engine needing to surge. That makes the vehicle feel calmer, more premium, and less worked in normal conditions. Then you add the Trail Sport hybrid angle, and now the CR-V is speaking directly to people who want a tougher vibe without sacrificing everyday refinement. All-wheel drive availability, the ability to handle poor road conditions with more confidence, and a setup that still feels efficient and smooth. That's exactly the kind of best of both worlds result that makes a Consumer Report-style conclusion feel inevitable. This is why the CR-V takes the top spot. It's the SUV that makes the fewest compromises. It feels like the vehicle was engineered around real life, not marketing. And when an SUV does that, while still being comfortable, efficient, and easy to own, that's when nearly perfect stops sounding dramatic and starts sounding accurate.